I love it. Nice.
So that's a new diff cover.
So
And
what
if
else?
you wanted, you could put a locker in this. The rear of the van's kind of like the van's driving in high heels.
We have an 8 o'clock appointment in San Diego, which is why we're up so early. And first we gotta get gas. Or I should say, liquid gold. Sam's Club opens at 5:30, they say. We're gonna find out. That was our first $100 fill-up. Well, it was nice while it lasted. The three Agile Off-road owners have over 20 years of experience in suspension design, fabrication, and off-road racing. They work on both Ford and Mercedes vans. Before we got started on our latest upgrades, John Brendel gave us a tour of their new digs, which should be completed in April.
This will be a legitimate rim for a kitchen for the shop guys.
The expansion triples their footprint with the ability to work on more vehicles and improve customer experience with a showroom, salespeople, and a waiting area.
And then from that wall all the way that way and further out is going to be showroom. An assembly area for wiring harnesses and differentials, things like that.
This is the third time in 4 years that we have taken our Mercedes Sprinter van to them for upgrades, including a ride improvement package, a spare tire carrier, new Goodrich KO2 tires, and a built-in ARB air compressor.
Well, we'll bring parts in this way, so raw parts will come in this way, and then we'll build and assemble them here, and then on the other side of the wall, that's where all the finished goods are.
And then look at all the extra parking.
Yeah, so now we've got all the parking. The only parking spot I don't have is that one right there.
Do you still let people spend the night here if they come down?
Yeah, in the front.
In the front.
Over there.
Yeah,
We
over there.
prefer they stay on that
Yeah.
side because the sheriff's really good in this area. They keep an eye on the area, and if you park out on the street, they kind
Yeah.
of roust you.
Yeah.
You know. And then there's these two big lifts. So those are rated at 16,000 pounds. But
And we are down here at Agile again, and we love to come here and watch these guys work and spend a lot of money. We're going to go over a lot of things you do, but first I want to start out with the air. What do you call that? Air head? No, not air head. That's a toilet.
That's you.
Air locker. I love it. Boom, boom. Air lockers.
Air locker.
I want you to explain what it does.
Okay.
And why someone would want to do that.
So we have an air locker now from ARB. So we work with them on an application. And we can now install a locking differential into any of the Sprinters from like 07 on the 6-lug, 2500s. And we haven't tested the 3500, but we're 99% sure it'll fit those. What that allows you to do is the air locker actually allows the two axles to be locked together so that you can get maximum traction in the rear. So this enables them because there's a certain amount of preload on the rear end. So this allows us to open that up, and that allows us to put the differential in. This one we've done a ton of work to, and it's kind of unique because it's really gotten heavy. So the customer's been one of those where they're add on, and add on.
Oh, okay.
So this is a good example of over gross vehicle weight. So we can't change what Mercedes does with the gross vehicle weight. We can't give it a higher weight rating, but we can definitely hold the weight up. And the concern would be, what it does to the transmission, things like that. But Sprinters have been notoriously robust, and they work pretty well.
These leaf springs, are they the ones that you put in?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
this
These are the same thing we did on yours, but these are for the four-wheel drive, so they're pretty much the same. And then they've got a little bit more arch for the four-wheel drive because these sit about 3.5 inches higher than a two-wheel drive.
Well, what does it come with? Is this a Revel?
Yeah, this is a Revel. Yeah,
So put a special coating on
normally it comes with, and we could look. We'll have some other ones, but it comes with like a flat They call it a parabolic spring or a tapered spring, and it's kind of flat. And then right here, there's a 3.5 inch spacer. So the 3.5 inch spacer would be like right here, and then the spring would be on top. And what we really want to do is we want to bring the center line of the spring, which is up here, closer to the center line of the axle, which is down here. So in this case, the center line of the spring is about right here, and this is here. Once you put in that spacer from Mercedes, it brings it up here. So the rear of the van's kind of like the van's driving in high heels. So when it's going around a turn, it's going to have a tendency to lean like this or lean fore and aft. So once we get it out of the high heels, we put it in like flat running shoes. It just handles way, way better. So that's primarily on the four-wheel drive, because two-wheel drives don't have block spacers in them.
Okay.
Okay.
So Winnebago, that makes the Rebel,
Yeah.
Do they order anything special from Mercedes, or they just take the stock four-wheel drive?
Stock four-wheel drive.
Okay.
So they're completely stock. Yeah.
Right.
We're starting to see a few other builders that are adding things to it, like shocks and sway bars. For the most part, they're putting on they put on Sumo bump stops. We pretty much will take most of that stuff off, because you don't want to have your spring, you don't want to replace your bump stop with something that's going to transfer load into the frame right here. These are notorious for cracking. They usually crack right across here, and on the right across here too. So whenever you're putting the load there, the load's designed to be carried in the front, and then pivoting off of the rear. You can kind of see it over here, pivoting off of the rear shackle. So this is where your load's wanting to be carried, and also the load, as the spring moves, it helps carry that load here and there, not in the middle of the frame. And once you're carrying it in the middle of the frame, it's not good. Like, we've done some military applications where they've said, we want to carry 8,000 pounds of load on the rear. So they're obviously carrying something extremely heavy in the back, and we built springs to carry that load. But we can't increase GBW.
Right.
The concern would be, are the bolts large enough in this area? The good thing about Mercedes is their chassis are like super robust. We've seen some pretty crazy stuff. Where they're not carrying the load is on the bump stop, though. For sure, carrying the load on the bump stop is bad for them. They do crack the frames. That's about the only thing we've seen. We've never seen a bolt failure. We've never seen an axle break, any of that. So it's pretty surprising. You know, just the extra fuel tank.
And it's 28?
28 gallons. Yeah. So it increases your range like 300 plus miles.
Right.
This we've added that fitting and that fitting.
So when you add a second tank, you have to drop the original tank?
If you're adding a second, we drop the main tank. We'll add one of these as a vent and one of these as a pickup. And then here's the ARB line. This one's got the new stainless steel line. So that allows us to just a more robust line, you know.
And I see up here.
Yeah, we got skid plates. This is engines, or the fuel tank skid plate, transmission skid plate, and then the engine skid plate.
Okay, now I didn't see one on the differential.
No, that one's off because we're doing work on that.
Okay, but it will have one.
And then we also do a really cool diff cover. So that's a new diff cover. And then you don't need a differential skid plate. So you could replace your factory one with one of these for $300.
Okay, let's see. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was the Nerf bars, because the first time we came in, 4 or whatever years ago, you said that if we ever wanted to, we could remove all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you put something else
so
here.
we've actually done several of the pleasure ways. When you remove this bar, you will see there's some stuff underneath there that's kind of like RV, right? So there's like water tanks, things like that. But if you remove them, we put on like the luminous Nerf bars are pretty popular. They step down, they give it a little bit more of an off-road look. And then once you remove those, you clean up the lower panel, and then you just paint underneath like black. So it gives it the look. It'll also make it look taller.
Okay.
So it gives it a different look. We've done, these pleasure ways have been really popular for doing that.
Yeah, because, well, also, I mean, you could hit something on the side of your vehicle, right?
Yeah, and the Nerf bars, surprisingly, as kind of flimsy as they are installed, they're pretty strong. like my Ford's out there, and it has them on it, and I've actually bent them, so they'll hold up the weight of the van.
Oh, okay.
They really would.
Well,
so,
if we ever destroy that, we'll come back and get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We call these old man flares.
Oh, really, they are. They really are ugly. John told me that you can do amazing new brakes on these things.
Yes.
Is it just on the Sprinter, or you do them on the Transit?
Just the Sprinter.
Just the Sprinter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going on over here, right?
Yeah, well, actually, this one's getting the ARB locker put in, so Glenn's putting that on. I can see if I can find you the rotor. I'll let Glenn hold it up.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 inch larger diameter
Whoa.
than the stock one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's also wider and it's vented. And then that rotor also has built into it the spacing that we want for to give it a wider stance. So it has a little bit more offset to make it wider.
Have you already installed them on the front?
This one's already been installed. Yeah, the rear is just coming apart.
Right.
And then this is so this is that's the 4-piston rear caliper. And this is all what they call an iron caliper. So this is all steel, so that as it compresses, there's no flex or deflection in the caliper. If you had an aluminum caliper, it would deflect. So the factory ones are iron like this, and then these aftermarket ones are iron. They're also converted to a radial mount. So a radial mount means it's being positioned this way or tightened down this way. So as it is being moved, it's moving in this direction instead of wanting to twist on there like that. So that's another nice thing about a radial mount.
So how much better are they at braking?
Substantial. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people debate on if they're worth it or not. I wouldn't run them on, if you're to keep your Sprinter and you need to do a brake job, I'd say buy those. You'll have so much better descending.
Yes.
It's less stressful, because you now have a brake, and you would never have to downshift the van anymore.
Oh.
So it's real, they're a substantial
really
upgrade.
Coming down the Sherwin grade, you wouldn't want to, you would want to brake all the way down that thing?
You could brake, yeah.
Oh yeah, coming down into Anza-Borrego.
Yeah, you go down Montezuma's grade into Anza-Borrego, I can motor down
really?
that.
And you don't burn out your brake pads or don't smell?
Never have, yeah.
Fire.
Yeah. My Ford E350 will.
Oh yeah.
So it has factory brakes, which are pretty big, but it doesn't have the braking force.
How come you can't do it for a Ford? You just haven't done it yet.
We just haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future.
Yep. That's the part of our rip.
So how long have you been doing Ford rip kits?
Well, we've been doing them for a while, but we've never done anything with the front because there's just not a whole lot that can be done. So it's usually just shocks or a lift kit, and the lift kits are just spacers. So we've never really been into lift kits or spacers. So, but we do have a rear spring. So this is similar to what we talked about on the Sprinter, where we keep the center line close as possible. So we're not adding blocks. So the lift kit would add blocks to it. And you'd be able to see that parabolic spring or the tapered spring.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Is that only on the all-wheel drive, or is that?
No, that's on the two-wheel drive as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is all-wheel drive.
This one's all-wheel drive. Yeah, you can tell the all-wheel drives because that hub, the bolt pattern, and then the hub sticks out like that. Yeah. So and if you wanted, you could put a locker in this. You could put an ARB locker in this, which would make it really capable, super capable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For people who don't live anywhere close to Southern California, you ship rip kits and then other people install them.
Yeah, so we can either ship them to an individual, and they can install them themselves if they're capable, or we have dealers. So we got dealers all over.
And would people find the list of your dealers
on the website?
On the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we're getting new dealers all the time. So if they're not familiar, they can just email us, tell us where they're at. We've got good dealers in Colorado, Pacific Northwest, all over. Some even on the East Coast. Yeah, there's OK 4-wheel drives back there, and then also mainline overland. So this is our new rear door organizer. I can show you the one on the Rebel. Yeah, this has the door organizer on it.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So this is for the
new
2019 because you got the original one for the 18 and older. So we don't have to worry about that.
And then of course you also install bumpers.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. This is the Backwoods Bumper that people like because it's got a nice place for a step. They don't have to put a step out here, which works better for ground clearance off-road. But
and winches and all of
winches,
that stuff. You
yeah,
guys do all that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you also do racks?
Yep. Yeah, yeah. I think we did like 2 or 3 of them last week. Most of the ladders we do are these, the
on the
luminous
side?
ladder. Yeah, yeah. So we do a side luminous ladder, and they're surprisingly strong.
Now it's time to add some TLC to our rig. We came to Agile for 3 projects: new tires, a differential cover, and a shrub guard because we like to take our rig off-road.
So these will go underneath and go onto the frame, and then the bumper, this will tie into that underneath the frame. So if like you hit something, hopefully you hit them in this area here and you keep them down.
Yeah. Our old tires have 45,000 miles on them and could go another 5, but we're planning on a 10,000 mile summer adventure.
The new gauge that John needs to buy.
So here's the new gauge you need to buy. So it's, instead of it having a hose and you have to sit there and hold it, you pull off the cap, you're gonna clip this on, and it's gonna read the pressure that's in the tire. So now you wanna air down. What do you guys normally air down to?
We think 71 to 50 is what I'm
Okay,
telling you.
okay.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, yeah. So, and if you want, you can go down to like, so I normally tell people on these is to go down to about 30, 35.
Okay.
So you want to go down to, now you're at 30 PSI. And then when you put the cap on, so that levers can get pulled back. So to keep the lever from getting pulled back, run the cap down, and then the cap will hold the lever from coming up. So, but what's cool is now it's convenient to air down.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is removing the cap the one time. You clip this on, you're not screwing on this.
Right.
You clip that on, read your pressure, and then pull it back.
Okay.
So what you do is when you're pulling off the trail, leave the engine running because you want it to run with the compressor on. Pull over, go to your TPMS screen.
Right.
Your pressures are reading on there. Clip your air up onto here. Watch your gas, watch your dash. You don't even need another gauge.
Oh, okay.
And then if you want to, you can always check it with this. Those other gauges, they're nice, but this one just convenient because it's, and it clips on, and you can, and then you can just pull this. Bring the air down. There's like, that's like 17 pounds.
Well, you would never ride this car.
You could on the beach.
What does it cost to get replacement caps?
You know, I think the caps are like $7. Yeah, because you're gonna, like you don't want to lose it.
Or somebody will steal it.
Yeah, because these are kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
But, you know,
$7. Okay.
Where do we
it's
get
$7
one of these?
at your Agile Off-road.
Oh, well.
So we have those too. And then
Okay.
the main thing is on this is the gauges are good quality. It's got rubber on it, but the main piece is this, and it's just a higher end. And they're made here in the U.S. and they're made by Dell. That's what we use for all of our tire equipment in the shop. Oh,
Yeah.
you want to get the gauge and an extra
Yeah,
cap?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Also a tire.
Oh, that was one of the questions we wanted to ask you about tire iron.
yeah,
I've
for
got the short one from Mercedes.
yeah, we've got a longer one that will work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll work with these because these are 17 millimeter.
Perfect.
Okay, let me air it up.
The only thing left was a test drive and a ride home in the lightest rush hour traffic we've seen since the 1984 Summer Olympics. Thanks for watching.
4:35 on a Monday. It should be backed up till Irvine.